Welcome to SMP's Webex Wednesday. I'm Katie Shaw, an Adoption Services Consultant, and I am glad that you've joined our session today. Our focus is using polling in Webex meetings. As before, we will take 20 minutes to walk through the information itemized in this agenda, and then we'll have 10 minutes for questions from the group. You may use the chat or raise your hand to let me know you have a question. And I'm going to start with a poll question. All right, so I've got my poll open over here, and we are going to take a look at using polls effectively, the poll question types and uses available in your Webex account, how to enable the polling panel, creating poll questions and answers, saving polls for later use, and we will then take a look at any questions that came in and the agenda for next week's Webex Wednesday. All right. So the very first thing, using polls effectively. So polls can be very useful for us for a lot of different reasons, but the human attention span is a tough factor to balance when it comes to virtual meetings or virtual learning. We've all been guilty of being preoccupied or distracted during in-person meetings, and the virtual environment adds even more opportunity for distraction. Purposeful and well-developed polls create interaction opportunities with your attendees. Use them to punctuate and confirm understanding of key points of your presentation, to fuel conversations, break the ice, and re-engage your audience. So remember that you have lots of tools available to you in your Webex meeting, event, or training, and polls is just one opportunity for you to re-engage your audience. So there are three types of questions that you can use inside of your Webex meeting, event, or training. And those are multiple choice with a single answer, multiple choice with multiple answers, and short answer. So for multiple choice with a single answer, you're using to gauge opinion or knowledge of your attendees. So this could be, asking a question about a topic that you just discussed, or to gather information about what attendees have learned from previous sessions. Multiple choice with multiple answer, these could be used to understand your audience's interest in specific topics. For example, choose your top 3 topics of interest out of these 5 or 7. And then short answer, we can use these to crowdsource suggestions, challenges, or areas for improvement. And when we are asking our attendees to type in their response, we always want to make sure we give them more time than we do for multiple choice. So let's discuss how we would create questions in Webex meetings, events, or trainings. To create questions, we would normally want to do this ahead of time. Just create a meeting, an event, or a training, a dummy session with no attendees is perfectly fine. No one needs to be in attendance for this process to work. So the first thing we want to do is we want to enable our polling panel in our interface. So we are going to click View, then we're going to click Panels, and then we're going to click Manage Panels. Once we click Manage Panels, we see this pop up in our interface. And on the left-hand side, we have Available Panels, and on the right-hand side, we have Current Panels. So I see Polling. I'm going to go ahead and click it. And then I'm going to click Add. Once I click Add, now polling shows up in the Current Panels section of my Manage Panels window. This means that once you go back to your meeting, you will have the option to open up your polling panel in the interface. Once you see polling in the current panel side of your window, go ahead and click OK. Then you're going to go back to your main Webex interface, and we're going to need to click the More icon down on your Webex controls, and then we're going to click Polling, okay? Once you click Polling, your window will change and you will see an interface that looks like this. Now you can go ahead and create your questions. So the three types of questions that we just talked about, multiple choice with single answer, multiple choice with multiple answer, or short answer, are found here in our type dropdown, okay? So the first thing you need to do is choose the type of question that you want to compose. Once you've chosen your type from the drop-down list, go ahead and click New. From there, you have the ability to type in the question that you'd like to ask. So up at the very top, there'll be a text box that you can populate with your question. And then you're going to go ahead and add in the options that they can choose from if it's a multiple choice. So if you click Add, if you click Add, you're then going to see over on the middle of your panel, text boxes open where you can type in the options that they can choose from. So you're going to repeat that process for as many times as as needed to give your attendees the number of options or the number of choices that they have for the multiple choice question. Now, once you've created a poll question, the icons at the top of your polling panel will become clickable to help you manage your poll. So let's take a look at what these icons are and what we can do with them. The first icon from the left is New. So this is the option that you'll click to create a new polling question. To the right of that, we have Open. If you have created polling questions in the past and saved them to a location on your computer, this is where you will navigate to in order to retrieve them. We'll talk about that process in just a few minutes. To the right of that, we have Save. So if you did want to save your polling question so that you could reuse it at a different time, go ahead and click the Save button. To the right of that, we have Edit. Maybe if I launch a polling question and I'm previewing it in my host pane, I see that maybe I have a spelling error, or maybe I want to give an additional option in my multiple choice. I can edit my content on the fly to make the changes for the particular presentation that I'm giving. To the right of that, we have Delete. If you don't like your poll question, or maybe you have decided to remove it from your presentation, you can click that little trash can and it will delete your poll from your interface. Then we have the up arrow. This is to move your multiple choice options up or down in the list. Now we have our down arrow, move your option down in the list. So now that I have my question created, I could add as many options in there as I would like to for multiple choice questions. Let's say that this is not a live session. I'm just doing a practice session here. I'm getting my polling questions ready for the live session. I want to save my question to use at another time. So on my polling panel, I'm going to go ahead and click Save icon right there. And when you do that, you get an interface that pops up that looks like this. You're going to name your polling question. So down here, name the question and then choose the location, right? Save in the specific location where you're going to be able to find it again. Maybe make a specific folder on your desktop just for polling questions so that you never have to worry about where they go. You know where they go every single time. And then click the Save button. When you begin your live meeting, event, or training session, you're going to open your polling panel, just like we talked about first thing in this session. And then you're going to open your saved poll questions by clicking the Open icon and then navigating to the location that you saved your poll questions to, okay? Once you do that, they're going to pop right back up into your interface. And if you have multiple polling questions that you're going to be using during a specific session, they're going to line up in tabs right across the top of your polling panel. All right, so you will be able to see all 5 or 6 or 10 or however many questions you have prepared, lined up right across the top of your polling panel, and you as the host will be able to click between all of them. And when you're ready to launch your poll, you're just going to click the Open Poll button. Okay, so click that. It will launch your poll, and you as the host will see some feedback about about how many people have answered your question and which one they have chosen. Okay, so for this particular one, this is what a live poll looks like for your host. As your attendees answer the question, you're going to see those bars over there on the right-hand side populate. And then down at the bottom, you're going to see a status of how many people are in the process of answering, how many people have already answered, and how many people have not started. Okay. So once you are satisfied with the number of people who have responded to your poll, you can go ahead and click Close Poll. All right, so here I see Close Poll, and that will remove the question from your attendees' view. They're not going to see it. They're not going to be able to click it anymore. And then you can kind of digest the feedback as the host based on what or how your attendees have responded to the poll. Okay. All right, so that is how we can set up, kind of pre-configure our polls and how we would run them in our session, okay? So we wanna make sure that we are using polls effectively and with good purpose, okay? So make sure that you are maybe running your poll questions by another person just to make sure that the questions make sense and that the questions aren't either too difficult or too easy, and that the content relates to the topic that you are addressing in your session. Okay. All right. So a really quick recap. We want to make sure that we enable polling from your menu. Right. We're going to choose our polling panel inside of our View menu. Poll questions can be configured ahead of time. So if we wanted to pre-configure them, just save them. Or if you have something that pops in your head and you just want to throw a quick question out there to your audience, you can do poll questions right on the spot. Use different poll question types to gather different kinds of information from your audience. Polls are available in Webex meetings, events, and trainings. And polls allow you to engage your attendees and gather useful information at the same time. So, use polls to your advantage when you are planning out your meeting content, okay? All right, so our next Webex Wednesday will be on Wednesday, June 2nd, and the topic is Webex meetings, staying connected in a social distancing world. We're going to take a look at how you might continue to use Webex meetings, events, or training, even once you return to your physical office. This is going to take place from 11:45 to 12:15 on June 2nd. As always, follow SMP-Corp on LinkedIn for registration information. Thank you for your time and attention. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask.